Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to a new playlist. This is going to be episode 0 of many to come. I wanted to separate my other playthrough from everything that is going to happen after we leave Novice, or starting with creating a ship to leave Novice. And the reason why is because I have two separate guides. I have one that was, it was kind of, it was my first, so it's a little bit less quality, but it was a no DLC guide. And that ended with launching a rocket on Novice. And I then decided to make a DLC guide, a space age guide, which is what we are in now. And I wanted initially to have them kind of meet together and have it so that both of them could kind of continue on. That is definitely going to be more difficult because they are two different seeds. There's, different builds, there's different stuff. So kind of part of that is with this guide, or with this playlist, let's say, I will be making the save for this world and all of the blueprints available on my Discord. So if you wanted to just kind of start where I'm at now, feel free to join my Discord and grab the map, or if you just want to continue playing your own and just want to check out what I've done inside your own, jump in and poke around, then that's fine too. So before we get into, in this episode, I want to kind of recap what we've done a little bit and talk about what we're going to do going forward just a little bit. Before I get into that though, I would just really like to thank everyone that has subscribed, all the comments, those that have joined Discord. It was funny because starting out with YouTube, I thought that the subscriptions would come a lot faster than the view time heading towards monetization, but it is quite in the opposite direction. Subscriptions are very hard to come by these days. So to everyone that has subscribed, thank you very much. Okay, so moving on. So to recap kind of what we've done. So we have set up a bus base. We have production smelting on the bus and all the different production on the bus. We have a lovely little mall here to kind of make everything that we need now and going forward. That includes some of the space age specific items. We have quality in a few of them, but we're largely not focusing on quality at the moment. I tried to keep most of the items that we were creating on one side of the bus, and the sciences that we have set up here on the other side of the bus. There was a large focus on kind of keeping things somewhat modular and expandable. So for instance, the gears, if I wanted to add more gears, let's say that we upgraded to blue belts and we, can no longer fill a full blue belt, we can always just take this section here and add it on, something like that. Not quite like this, but you get the idea. Yeah, basically like that. So yeah, there you go. So that was kind of the idea with this, is I wanted to have some modular builds where we could just kind of continue on if needed, obviously having to remove some things here and there. And I feel like that worked out pretty good. We did a pretty good job of doing exactly that. We also have dedicated rocket fuel, dedicated LDS, and dedicated blue circuit production for our rockets. We have some copper here that needs to kind of get out of the way, but whatever. That'll work itself out over time. We have our train hub set up, which is bringing in raw materials only to be smelted on the bus. And one of the last things that we did was we set up a defense wall. So in the last episode for the last guide, I only set up this section, and I then proceeded to kind of blanket the map in defensive structures around the base. This is largely overkill. We will almost never need this because in this save we do have biter expansion turned off. That was because the guide was largely focused for new players. I'm gonna stop referring to this as a new player guide, or at least in this this playlist, because I feel like if you've made it to this point, you can probably call yourself, stop referring to yourself as a new player. Um, yeah, you might be a new player, but you know what? You've hopefully learned a lot from what we've done, and I tried to slowly add in things that we will be using. For instance, like combinator setups for regulating our liquids or combinator setups for our trains, going over things like that, just a little here and there, or kind of concepts like um, moving more fluids than a single pump can handle, just, little things like that here and there. We also have a lot of materials being collected, as you can see here, and I tried to keep them uh, as close to the rockets as possible. That was the idea of the layout, was Maul would be pretty close to where the rockets would go. Um, Rockets would have their own supply, and things would be collected at a central location near the rockets. That way, when we need something, we can just send it off pretty fast. I also walled off this little biter section. Now, I don't have roboports down here, but this is just littered with laser turrets. So anything that might try, like our pollution is not in a bad state because there's been a lot of idle time, but as I've been like touching up blueprints and correcting some things here and there. Anyways, we do need this for later, and we do not want to get rid of these spawners. So if they ever attack, they are just kind of walled in, and it is very, very secure. I also ended up expanding some of the mining operations. I have, for instance, some oil being picked up over here. And each of these wall segments, like they have kind of their own oil supply. That was a large part of why I set them up the way that I did. I think the exception was maybe this one. I don't know. Did I ever get into... Okay, I just dragged it from over here. This was kind of the only one that didn't really have its own like dedicated patch, but anyways, lots of expanding on mining, lots of expanding on different things, and generally just upgrading everything in the base. So that is where we're at. If you are unfamiliar with the way that I did things in the other guide, then I will be linking the previous guide in the description below, so you can kind of check that out. I'm going to try to do things the same way that I did in that guide for this playlist. We had... Each episode was kind of... Well, it was episodic. It was very, like, focused. It was, this is how we're setting up the steel, or the smelting, or this is how we're setting up the steel smelting. We're going to make a train hub. We're going to set up blue circuit build. So it was very, very targeted, very focused, or, uranium mining and Covrex enrichment process, like very specific things. And I want to try to do that going forward, but I know that there will be some situations where we kind of either can't cover all of that topic in one video, or we will have to cover multiple topics in videos, because I kind of try to aim to have the videos be 30 to 45 minutes. Some of them go longer, some of them are a little shorter. But that's a decent target. So yeah, that is what's going on for this. And before I end the video, so we are going to be making, in the next episode, we're going to be making a spaceship that will send us on our way. So I ended up increasing the capacity for our whatchamacallit, space platform foundations here. A lot of content creators that I've seen, now I haven't seen that much of post-novice content creator work, so to be honest, I really don't know what a lot of them do. I know some concepts that are widely accepted, like for instance a sushi belt on a space platform, or some of the mechanics are widely accepted from one content creator to the next. I know they tend to prefer like a really tiny spaceship to go from novice to Volcanus for the first time, and I'm like, I really don't understand why. That makes no sense to me. I want to have something that is not a like one-time use. It is not totally useless. I want to have something that we can expand on and, maybe work around, just like the less that we have to fully create something new, the better. So we are going to be making a new space platform. I don't know what I want to call this. It is largely going to be the ship that we travel on, but it is also going to be a ship that supplies different machines. So I want it to be easily identifiable. My ship? No. Maybe I should name it after one of my viewers. What if we called it the Peon? Sure, that works for me. So we will get that going. In the next episode, I will be making a new ship. Well, I guess a starter ship, and it is going to be a little bit larger than maybe some of the other content creators have. I know that they like to just put as few solar panels down as possible and the minimalist approach. You know what? We've really fleshed out the novice base. If you were like right after Blue Science going to make a new ship, and trying to head to Volcanus, it would be very difficult. It's not easy when you don't have a lot of the upgrades and access to a lot of the stuff that we have access to now. But in that case, I could definitely see, something a little bit smaller or whatever. Yeah, but we are going to make something that is actually useful and will sustain us for a large portion of the game. And something that we can, copy and expand on. And anyways, so that is what we're going to be doing. I am going to skip ahead a little bit. Normally I like to show all of my work, but in some cases, like, oops, map. So for instance, with this, I don't need to show the work, quote unquote, of, waiting for all the rockets to launch and for stuff to get up here. So, yeah, we're going to have this set up. We're going to maybe bring in a couple of things. We definitely want to bring in some of those. Yeah, I'm just going to toss a couple of things out real quick. Something that we can have going. Yes, we're going to have a couple of these guys. One, actually. I don't know why more people don't start out with nuclear on ships. They try to just do... only do... Let's do 25. Only do the bare minimum and just use solar. Solar's great, don't get me wrong. But that is not how we do things here. We like to overdo it a bit. Belts, definitely some belts. We want to try to avoid using splitters, but I have some workarounds to... I'm going to show you the problem with splitters on the space platform and show you some workarounds too in the next episode. But anyways, anything else we need, which will, be some things here and there, we will largely deal with in the next episode. So I'm going to end this and allow the game to kind of continue on to make sure that we get all or a lot of the stuff that I just requested for the space platform. And yeah, if you've been, if you're new or if you've been enjoying the content that I've made so far, well, you know what to do. We will be creating that ship in the next episode, set that up, and hopefully get to the point where we can actually make the trip to Volcanus in the episode after that. So that is going to be it for me for now. I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.